Hope everybody's having a great second day of the week, what day it is, and hopefully everybody had a great weekend. As I did, I rested, did some studying, whatnot. Of course, really can't do much because of my back, but anyways, I was looking at this book that I showed y'all in the last video, The Mark of the Beast, and like I stated, it is brought forth by Ellen G. White, E.G. White, but I'm not gonna really cover the teachings that she has or the publishers or whoever put all this information together. I'm not gonna share that with you because a lot of it is in fact wrong and has been proven wrong. And I have yet to finish finding out all the discrepancies because we are told in our Bibles that we must prove everything. Okay, I know a lot of people esteem her as a prophetess, but I don't because, like I've shown you on my videos and have stated, they need to be mentioned in the Bible. And if they're not, then they're a false prophet. Okay, but what I do have here are facts, and I will give you the sources as to where these quotes and comments came from. Okay, let's see. It says the papal power occupies a unique place in the world, for it not only is a religion but a kingdom as well. A religion is a kingdom. Just like here in the United States, we have the beast out of the earth, a kingdom with its own religious laws or its own laws of government. It's the same difference. Okay, as the Bible, the biblical laws, the laws of our Father Yahweh, justify us as a sinner, as a saint. So the laws in this country do the same. Either you're a criminal or law-abiding citizen. Same difference. At the present time, representatives and ambassadors from more than 40 major nations of the world come to council with its head of state, the Pope. Among these are representatives from the United States. The papacy came out of the Roman Empire just as the little horn came out of the fourth beast. And these are in the prophecies of Daniel or Daniel 7, chapter 7. It still has its headquarters in the same capital of the ancient Roman Empire, Rome by the banks of the Tiber in what is today called Italy. Long ages ago, when Rome, through the neglect of the Western emperors, was left to the mercy of the barbarous hordes, the Romans turned to one figure for aid and protection and asked him to rule them, and thus commenced the temporal sovereignty of the popes, and meekly stepping to the throne of Caesar, the vicar of Christ, took upon the scepter to which the emperors and kings of Europe were to bow in reverence through so many ages. And that comes from the American Catholic Quarterly Review, April 1911. Okay. If I see scriptures that, well, like I just gave y'all Daniel, I will point those out to y'all so y'all can make y'all's notes if in fact that's what you guys are doing. Okay, this is from, okay, out of the ruins of political Rome arose the the great moral empire in the giant, form of the Roman Church, and that is from A.C. Flick, The Rise of the Medieval Church of 1909, page 150. Under the Roman Empire, the popes had no temporal powers, but when the Roman Empire had disintegrated and its place had been taken by a number of rude barbarous kingdoms, the Roman Catholic Church not only became independent of the states in religious affairs, but dominated secular affairs as well. At times, under such rulers as Charlemagne, I guess he ruled from 768 to 814, Otto the Great from 936 to 973, and Henry III from 1039 to 1056, the civil power controlled the church to some extent, but in general, under the weak political system of feudalism, the well-organized, unified, and centralized church with the Pope as its head, was not only independent in ecclesiastical affairs, but also controlled civil affairs. That's not cool at all. That is from Carl Conrad Eckhart, The Papacy and World Affairs, the University of Chicago Press, 1937, page 1. We can kind of see this in Um, Even in biblical times, when the apostles were in Rome, like I stated, they weren't allowed to go teach there in the name of Yahweh, Yeshua, let alone teach the laws of our Father. I mean, we saw what came to pass to John, uh, why he was beheaded, because he told, I think it was Herod, that he couldn't have his brother's wife. So they were doing whatever they wanted and as they saw fit. Just like we read here, they were doing their civil affairs. They were doing whatever they wanted because that is the system. That is the, I believe it was the Pharisaic, the Essenes, and the Sadducee system that they wanted to do. So they did whatever they want. We see that even going here in the U.S., even through our justice system. And if I haven't given y'all the heads up, if you have read or have been involved in a federal case or even a state case, as myself, mine was federal, you get to see a lot of the Roman language being used in there. And then you can see the similarities between the badges of the police and everybody else as, miniature Roman shields. We are under the Roman rule, people here. And I've given y'all the heads up as far as statues on top of our capitals. They're all women, pretty much, I think, if I remember correctly. Justice is a feminine word. Um, I mean, there's just so much to see here in this country that comes from Rome, you know, beginning with your religions. Okay, I mean, those are just facts. It was given its religious power over the nations at exactly the time predicted. Okay, now here's your error, and I'll point this out to you if y'all are E.G. White followers. It says here the last of the 10 divisions was formed in A.D., this common era, of 476, and three of them, the Heruli in 493, the Vandals in 534, and the Ostrogoths in 538, were destroyed at the instigation of the papacy because they held divergent religious views. Okay, if y'all look those up, look up the Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths. They'll tell you the modern day cities. So obviously they weren't destroyed. Okay, they're like modern day, like Rome. I was looking them up not too long ago. I have it somewhere. I've been moving my stuff back and forth, and I just lose track of everything. But they're not. If they were destroyed, they wouldn't be. They wouldn't have their modern counterparts today. But look them up. The Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths. They're like Germans and Italians, and who else? Who else? Who else knows exactly which ones they are? But look them up. You'll see what I'm talking about. The last of these was wiped out just 5 years after Emperor Justinian, by decree, proclaimed the Pope to be the visible head over all the churches everywhere. That is a fact. The Pope is the visible head to all Christian Catholic religions. We, the house of Yahweh, have Yeshua as our head and Yahweh as our Father. Okay, we do not follow any of the Roman teachings. Don't have any idolatry as far as gods or female pagan deities. Do not practice Christmas, Easter, none of that stuff. That is you guys, the rest of y'all. This is from, okay, the recognition, quote, the recognition of the Roman See as the highest ecclesiastical authority remained the cornerstone of his, Justinian's, policy in relation to the West. This is from G. Kruger, Justinian I, Emperor of the East, in the New Shabherzog Encyclopedia of Religious Knowledge, Volume 6, page 286. Quote, that was a quote from that one. Quote here, down to the 6th century, all popes are declared saints. In the martyrologies, Vigilius, I guess he ruled from 537 to 555, is the first of the series of popes who no longer bear this title, which is henceforth sparingly conferred. Gotta look that up. Vigilius. Let's see what it says. Vigilius. Oh, Pope Vigilius. It says Pope Vigilius was the Bishop of Rome from 29 March 537 to his death. He is considered the first pope of the Byzantine papacy, born into Roman aristocracy, Vigilius served as a deacon and a papal apocricarius in Constantinople. That is Vigilius right there. See, people, this is the way I do my research now that I'm out of the feds and have access to the internet. I mean, there's nothing we can't find on there. But anyways, okay, going on here. From this time on, the popes, more and more involved in worldly affairs, no longer belong solely to the church. They are men of the state and then rulers of the. They are men of the state and then rulers of the state. This is from Charles Beaumont and G. Monod, Medieval Europe from 395 to 1270, pages 120 and 121. It is widely recognized that Vigilio's reign began in 538. What did it say here? 537. Close enough. Recognize that Vigilius' reign began in 538, the year that so much power was given to the papacy by Justinian. His predecessor, Pope Severius, did not die until June of 538. Cool. This is where you find out, people, who is who in the Bible. And you get to find out if, in fact, you're following the church fathers or you're following the patriarchs. You know, Abraham, Moses, Enoch, Elijah, all these guys. Just like we have forefathers in this country, we have the actual forefathers or patriarchs. Okay. The Constantine of Justinian, chapters 1 and 2, in his civil law, decreed that the Pope of Rome was henceforth to be legally recognized as the first pontiff of all world churches. The 1260-year rule of the papacy continued exactly in accordance with the time prophecy. From AD 538, when the sword of Belisarius elevated Pope Vigilius as universal pontiff, to the time when the sword of Berthier thrust Pope Pius VI from office in 1788, was exactly 1260 years. But that is a false teaching. I mean, you can pick any time period from the popes and make that 1260 fit. Okay. But I myself, like I told you, I have to sit down by myself and see if these things are actually fact or not. But I think I read a little bit on this a while back, and that's why I'm going to put a question mark on it so I can look into it. Okay. Like I said, just, this one doesn't have a source. It's just a commentary from the authors, from Ellen G. White, probably. Okay. They've even set a time period when the Messiah, well, they said when their Jesus was coming back in 1844 after this meteor shower. Nobody showed up. So the church themselves had to rewrite or something like that, these prophecies. We saw these, I read of the same things that came to pass in the world, in the Church of God, through through the late Mr. Armstrong. Their people along the years had to rewrite a lot of his stuff that didn't come true. So now this one does have a source. Like I said, I'll tell you if it's just a commentary, or I'll tell you if it's a source. Okay, and like I said, I'll tell you if I can find it here in the scriptures. When in 1797 Pope Pius VI fell grievously ill, Napoleon gave orders that in the event of his death, no successor should be elected to his office, and the papacy should be discontinued. But the Pope recovered. The peace was soon broken. Berthier entered Rome on the 10th of February of the second month, 1798, and proclaimed Rome to be a republic. The aged pontiff refused to violate his oath by recognizing it and was hurried from prison to prison in France. Broken with fatigue and sorrows, he died on the 17th of August, 1799, in the French fortress of Valence, aged 82 years. No wonder half of Europe thought Napoleon's veto would be obeyed, and that with the Pope, the papacy was dead. This also, I like this one. I haven't come across any other commentary that might say this was or this wasn't the deadly wound, and that deadly wound would be healed. Okay, and that is in. Let's go over to This I read in another commentary of one of their books, and they use Revelation 13. Talks about the deadly wound. That is in Revelation 13:12. It says, "And he exercised all the authority of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed." The footnotes here have the United States. The first beast before United States was the Roman Catholic Church. It doesn't have much footnotes on here on that part. Oh, hold on. Okay, all it has here in 13:3, it says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." So obviously it still has to do with papal or pagan Rome. All it says here is that any encyclopedia will show when this took place. Okay. I like this one, but like I said, I need to continue doing more historical research. But that is the scriptures that Ellen G. White has used to try and confirm her statement. Okay. And that is coming from Joseph Rickaby, The Modern Papacy, page 1. Here's another commentary. "The papacy is a religious power, and the man at its head that is both the center and the key to the whole organization is the Pope." If y'all have that book as to why they consider the Pope the head, if you have the book, The Two Babylons, it's in there. But if not, I recommend again that y'all buy it. The reason why they use the apostle's name, well, it's not the apostle's name, it's their interpretation of Kepha or Peter, is that there's reason why they have two keys on their flag. It's because they supposedly have the keys in understanding the Bible. That is why the popes are always to be the interpreters or the interpreters of the scriptures, something like that. It's in that book. I highly also recommend y'all get that book from Malachi Martin, The Keys to This Blood. I need to find that one. Okay, here's a commentary from Ellen G. White. It says, "The papacy is a religious power, and the man at its head that is both the center and the key to the whole organization is the Pope. Without him, there would be no papacy. It is a religion of a man." Okay, I'll buy that. The Pope is the visible head to all of churchianity. Every single church, they're just daughters under the great whore, which is the Catholic Church. "And upon his," okay, this is from Scripture, "and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." From Revelation 13:1, "He will speak great things, very great things, great words against the Most High," which in this case is against Yahweh. And Daniel 7:25, "And great things and words of blasphemies," Revelation 13:5, "And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called." Let me read it out of that one. Revelation. Okay, they have here, "And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his house and those who dwell in heaven." Okay. If you read Revelation 13:7, it says, "And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over all the tribes and peoples and languages and nations." This you can clearly cross-reference to Daniel 7:25. Okay. Yes, the Pope has been pretty much given authority over all the people of this world because of its religious belief. "All the names which in the scriptures are applied to Christ, by virtue of which it is established that he is over the church, all the same names are applied to the Pope." Well, in this case, since I've been showing you distinctions between Yahweh and God, and Yeshua and Christ, uh, in other words, from this side, okay, he's doing exactly as was prophesied to do. Okay, but he is not really necessarily taking well, he has taken the attributes that were given to Yeshua, he has given them to himself. Okay. I think I've shown you also in earlier videos about this whole meaning of the word antichrist. Doesn't necessarily mean against Christ because he is Christ in the flesh. I think it's in this book as well. Now, if he was against anti-Messiah, then yeah, then he is against our Messiah, Yeshua, and he is against Yahweh, obviously. Okay, that is coming from Robert Bellarmine on the Authority of the Councils, chapter 17, 1628 edition, volume 1, page 266. Quote, he says, we hold upon this earth the place of God Almighty, and this is from Pope Leo the 13th, the encyclical letter of June 20th, 1894. So I said, people, these books are great on these kind of sources. Okay. Notice another quote, for not man, but God separates those whom the Roman pontiff who exercises the functions not of mere man, but of the true God, having weighed the necessity or benefit of the churches, dissolves not by human, but by rather divine authority. The Decretals of this is coming from the Decretals of Gregory the Ninth, Book 1, Title 7, Chapter 3, in Corpus Juris Canonici, obviously canonizations, 1555 edition, volume 2, column 203. Imagine doing, I mean, looking up all these credentials, all these sources. That's why it's kind of better to have them in a book, huh? I think if somebody just took their time and looked up all this stuff, you're losing too much. I mean, it's a lot of these things can be, like I said, put in books for us to read. Oh, at the same time, I think certain points are just mostly really being pointed out. Okay, the blasphemies, and he thinks, well, he is God's vicegerent. He is not Yahweh's vicegerent. Okay, the Pope is declaring himself to be God in the flesh or Christ in the flesh, since God and Christ are the same thing according to Christianity. And according to mythology, like I've shown you about Superman, Kal-El, the father becomes the son and the son becomes the father. I mean, these things come from here, from the Catholic Church. So if he is the vicegerent of God, he is the substitution for Christ or God. He therefore is the Antichrist. It's not, I mean, now that I see this, it's not really all that hard to put all these things together, add them up. These are just facts. And because people find, I'm not scared to post these things on YouTube. I even have some of this one posting on my Twitter account showing who the Antichrist is. I put hashtags, Pope, papacy, Rome, all this stuff, because we're supposed to be exposing the evil people and the evil of their doings, but at the same time trying to get rid of our evil doings. So I do it to help people out. Say, hey, this is who you're following. You might want to consider following the true Father. His name's Yahweh, and the true Messiah, his name's Yeshua. But like I told people in the videos, y'all keep believing whatever you want. I'm not here to force y'all to do anything. Let's see. Quote, the Pope is supreme judge of the law of the land. He is the vicegerent of Christ and is not only a priest forever, but also King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Wow. And that is coming from La Civilta Católica from March 18, 1871. Again, people, even if his name was Christ, which it isn't, this is what this guy is doing. He's proclaiming himself to be the Messiah per se, or what did it say, King of King and Lord of Lord. That is, you're exalting yourself, trying to be above the Messiah and above our Father in heaven. That's a big no-no. I am, like I said in one of my videos, I am a sinner all the way around, but I would never try to put myself above my Creator or the Messiah. That's crazy. Obviously, this guy's got Their cojones and anybody else in this. Hence, the Pope is crowned with a triple crown as King of Heaven and of Earth and of the lower regions. This is from the Infernorum, the fiery place, or the lower regions. This is a quote from Lucius Ferrari's Prompta Bibliotheca Papa, or the Pope, Article 2 from 1772 through 1777 edition, Volume 6, page 29. All the faithful must believe that the Holy Apostolic See, S-E-E, and the Roman Pontiff, the Pope, possesses the primacy or the primacy over the whole world, and the Roman Pontiff is the successor of Blessed Peter, Prince of the Apostles, and is the true vicar of Christ and head of the whole church, and father and teacher of all Christians, and that full power was given to him and Blessed Peter to rule, feed, and govern the universal church by Jesus Christ our Lord. That is coming from the first dogmatic constitution, first dogmatic constitution on the Church of Christ, quote, eternal pastor, end quote, published in the fourth session of the Vatican Council from 1870, chapter 3, in Philip Schaff, Creeds of Christendom, volume 2, page 262. Y'all can actually find all the canonization laws of the Catholic Church online if you know how to look for it. I remember I did a while back, and I was like, man, that's a lot of things to follow. Compared to 10 Commandments or 613 laws, man, they have bukus and bukus of rules and laws, and I said, man, that's just too much to read. I read random stuff, and I'm kind of like, okay, a lot of it makes sense, but I mean, it's like no big deal. All right. Quoting from Daniel 7:25, he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Yahweh is the Most High. I've given y'all the prophecies that the white horse first came into play, the first horse of Revelation, the one that appears to be righteous, prophesied of in the book of Genesis as the Nimrod system, prophesied of in the book of Daniel chapter 7, and first came into play in the book of Acts chapter 8 when the apostles of Yahweh were being persecuted. I told y'all Paul or Shaul was a Christian who was persecuting the people of Yahweh, those who came using Yahweh's name and Yeshua's name and teaching the laws of Moses. I say, hey, we see that today. When we had persecutions, I mean, not like fatal or, nothing like that in the feds, but we were being ridiculed by Christians, and that's supposedly because they're the true believers. So, oh, well, yeah, you guys are all stuck in the law of Moses. Those things were done away with, Really? I mean, we left Christians by themselves unless I was provoked. I mean, I would squash them with scriptures. I mean, you guys got it all backwards. You guys are not the true believers. I said, the true believers obeyed and followed the laws of our Father. And I said, but they were never called Christians. They were called Christians as a sign of contempt. Okay. I need to look up that word Christian and see where it comes from. It means Cretan. Okay. That's why they were being, they were being persecuted, being called retards and dumbasses and all kinds of names, pretty much. But that is where that word comes from. Look it up. Quoting Daniel 7:25, he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And I've shown you on Scripture in Revelation 14:12 and 22:14 that a saint are ones who keep the commandments of our Father. He shall tread down the host or the people of, it says here, God. Okay. Daniel 18:13 says a parallel prophecy to Daniel 7, and the dragon, which is Satan through the apostate church, Catholic Church, persecuted the woman. The woman are the 12 tribes of Israel, the body for the Messiah. And it's not called the true church. It's just called the woman, which brought forth. They use church because church, like I told you, is also a feminine word, which brought forth the man-child. I need to look into that one. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, a big old airplane, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half time, which is the 1260 years. from the face of the serpent, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. There's a prophecy on that one in the book of Isaiah where it says, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman. That's actually in my booklet, my notebook. But I'm gonna write here. If you guys are taking notes, you can put prophecy in Isaiah. Okay, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. That is in Revelation 12, 13, 15. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. That is from Revelation 13, 7. Dan, this, because the Pope or the popes are supposed to come from the tribe of Dan. And there's a prophecy, again, if it has not been brought out by your churches, and it probably hasn't, it's in the book of Genesis, and it tells you the end result of all these tribes. Okay, it says in the Genesis 48, 49, Genesis 49. Notice the first scripture in Genesis 49. Then Jacob called for his sons and said, gather together so I may tell you what will befall you in the last days. Of course, here, Dan, if you go over to Genesis 49, 16, it says, Dan will provide his people with justice as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent by the road, a viper along the path that bites the horse's heel so its rider tumbles backward. Make war with the saints. Mentally attack, to cause to fall away, to stumble backwards. If we're trying to live a righteous life but we keep stumbling, it is because we let the serpent get into our minds, mentally attack, to go back and commit that sin all over again. I'm a big sinner to it. I do a lot of things, but I try to keep moving forward. I'm not going to share with you what I do, but that was the teaching of our Messiah, and about the plow. If we have to keep looking back, we're not going to make it. We have to try and make that effort just to keep moving forward. Okay, but this tells you a lot of this of the last days end results of all these tribes. Okay, Dan will be a serpent by the road, a viper along the path that bites the horse's heels, so its rider tumbles backward. So again, people, if your churches are not bringing out these prophecies to you, you need to go look somewhere else. Okay, all these prophecies, even the prophecy of Nimrod has only, and these right here, and all the other prophecies have been brought up by only the house of Yahweh. Okay, so again, people, before y'all start just believing anything and everything, I would consider the studies. Okay. Let's see. That the Church of Rome has shed more innocent blood than any other institution that has ever existed among mankind will be questioned by no Protestant who has competent knowledge of history. It is impossible to form a complete conception of the multitude of her victims, and it is quite certain that no powers of imagination can adequately realize their sufferings. And this is coming from W.E.H. Lecky, History of the Rise and Influence of the Spirit of Rationalism in Europe, Volume 2, page 32, 1910 edition. So, again, the prophecies of Daniel 7:25 make war with the saints. And if you want to cross-reference in your notes, Daniel 7:25 to Revelation 13:7, you can also cross-reference that to Revelation 17. Oh, and speaking about giving power over the peoples, nations, tongues, and languages, you can cross-reference that to Revelation 17:1 because it says, "And there came one of the seven Malachim who had the seven bowls and talked with me, saying to me, 'Come, I will show you the sentence of the great whore that sits upon many waters.'" And waters here means peoples. That is in Revelation 17. Revelation 17:15. The waters which you saw where the horse sits are peoples, multitudes, and nations and languages. But this beast is also responsible for the blood of the saints and the prophets. Let's see. Revelation 17:6 says, "And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great astonishment." There you go, people. Same exact people. The Messiah said, "You will know them by their fruits." So, I have wondered, like I said, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about the Middle East and that kind of stuff, all these prophetical events coming to pass. A lot of Christians have been martyred, so they say, or killed for really no reason at all. If you're a Christian, like I just seen a video, as a matter of fact, this guy a few years back, this Christian guy went over to South America somewhere where those indigenous people are at. I'm sure y'all seen videos, but they always try to scare everybody off because fear of the diseases of the white man, so to speak, of the civilized people. They're out there and they live, I guess, pretty much in the nude, but they have their weapons. They've been there for who knows how many years. But this guy wanted to go over there and they killed him. They didn't kill him because he was a Christian. They just killed him because they don't want nobody there. Okay, but these other people, that's what they're doing. That's exactly what the first horse of Revelation 6 is doing. They're hunting for men's souls. What are they doing here in the streets? They go from house to house hunting for people's souls. You have to be called out. You can't be taught the message, especially by women, for that matter. I'm not trying to sound sexist, but that's a fact. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. They're going from house to house trying to win souls or to win converts. I've told you in my videos, they come out here and I talk to them as nice as I can, but I tell them the truth. Look, you're not going to make me go to your church anymore because Joseph Smith was a false prophet. I told them straight out. I told those two guys in Laredo where I was at working a couple of years back, and I told them there is no authenticity for the Book of Mormon. There is no authenticity for the Reformed Egyptian, for the Golden Plates, your people in the Book of Mormon. Nothing. Nothing. And if you're a Mormon and if you're watching this, bro or ma'am, do your own research. Okay? Don't just fall for it because they're talking real nice to you. Okay? Do your own research. Question everything. It's that simple. Okay? Let's see. Where was I at? Got a few more minutes. An excellent, though lengthy, article describing in the detail of the Roman Catholic Church. To do this will be found in the Catholic Encyclopedia, Volume 12, page 266. Highlight that one. Another quote: "For professing faith contrary to the teachings of the Church of Rome," I'm going to give you the scripture for that one. "For professing faith contrary to the teachings of the Church of Rome, history records the martyrdom of more than 100 million people," probably even more. "A million Waldenses and Albigenses, Swiss and French Protestants, perished during a crusade proclaimed by Pope Innocent. Yeah, okay. Pope Innocent III in the year 1208. Beginning from the establishment of the Jesuits in 1540 to 1580, 900,000 were destroyed. 150,000 perished by the Inquisition in 30 years. Within the space of 38 years after the edict of Charles V, against the Protestants, 50,000 persons or people were hanged, or were hung, right? Beheaded or burned alive for heresy. 18,000 more perished during the administration of the Duke of Alva in 5.5 years. And this is from the Brief Bible Readings, page 16. Wow. Imagine that, people. Probably thinking, no, I think I'm going to stay a Christian. I'm not. I'm not going to go back to being a Christian. But this, you can actually cross-reference to those I just gave you right now. Revelation 13, 14. Let's see. Revelation 13:14 says, and deceives those who dwell on the earth by those acts of power which he had authority to do in the sight of the beast, saying to those who dwell on the earth that they should make a likeness of the beast which had the wound by his sword and did live. And, okay, 15. Same difference. Revelation 13:14, 15. And he had power to give life to the likeness of the beast, that the likeness of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the likeness of the beast should be killed. There you go. Same people. And of course, same people in the book of Daniel 7:25 and Revelation 17. 17:6. You know, I had this book when I was in the feds, and I let this guy use it. And I don't know if he was trying to take it back with him because he got in trouble. So he came from the inside of the fence because I was at a camp. But he took it with him. But I went into the office and said, hey, I said, that's my book. It's got my ID number on it. I said, that's my you know, I ordered it through the mail. So they gave it back to me. You know, they saw I wasn't a troublemaker, so they gave back my book. But I think eventually, since I had a whole lot of books, pamphlets, booklets in my locker. Of course, we weren't allowed to have a whole lot of stuff in the lockers, but I think I ended up putting it back on the shelf, or ended up putting it on the shelf where all these books were at, on the library. And when I decided to keep it with me, it was gone. So, but I was glad that I found it online. I ordered this one and two more books for like $6, $7. You know, like I said, people, these are very informative books, as you can see. Okay. On August the 24th, here's another quote. On August the 24th, 1527, Roman Catholics in France, by pre-arranged plan under Jesuit influence, murdered 70,000 Protestants within the space of 2 months. The Pope rejoiced when he heard the news of the successful outcome. And here it says, read the great controversy. I have it here. Chapter 15 for the details. Ooh, I think I just might do that. It says, if you don't have a copyright, and I'll send you one. Catholics say only 30,000 were slain. Protestants put the number at 70,000. We prefer the latter figure. If there were 70,000 Huguenots, which were French Protestants, and Paris the night of the massacre, so much the more justification for the slaughter. Excuse me. We have heard ring out many times the very bells that called the Catholics together on that fatal night. Wow. They always sounded sweaty or sweetly in our ears. I guess it's the bells. This is coming from the Western Watchman, November 21st, 1912, Roman Catholic. Man, brutes, huh? They were beasts. A Catholic has some reason on his side when he calls, or the Catholic per se, the person, the Catholic has some reason on his side when he calls for the temporal punishment of heretics, for he claims the true title of Christian for himself exclusively and professes to be taught by the never failing presence of the Spirit of God. That's not what the Spirit of Yahweh teaches. It is not more morally wrong to put a man to death for heresy than for murder. Isn't that crazy? I'll read that again. It is not more morally wrong to put a man to death for heresy than for murder. But that's exactly how this country works. I mean, look at what came to be when they crucified our Messiah. They beat him severely. I mean, they disfigured him. They let an actual murderer go, or whatever he was accused of. What was his name? Barabbas or Barnabas. They let him go and they incarcerated, an innocent man. And because I mean, he was pretty much in opposition to the Roman, belief. I mean, he even told what was it, the Pharisees, because the Pharisees, like today, they were pretty much the Christian religious system. Okay, uh, but he didn't condemn them, but he did tell his disciples, do what they teach you, but do not practice their ways because they teach and do not practice. Okay, so you know obviously the Pharisees and everybody else who didn't believe in the Messiah, first of all, didn't believe because the majority didn't believe. Uh, they didn't know the prophecies because they were waiting for a guy dressed in, royalty. I guess, purple is a color of royalty. Um, they didn't believe him. They said, oh, then here comes this dude in rags. He's not wearing a crown. He comes in on a donkey, that kind of stuff. That's what they didn't believe it, but because they didn't read the prophecies. Obviously, that's just the way I look at it. I mean, that is my opinion, but I base it on a lot of facts today. A lot of people don't read those prophecies because, like I just said, your church ain't teaching them to you because they don't know any better. Okay, um, the Jews, they didn't believe in their own Messiah. What the hell is this guy? I mean, I thought he was supposed to have long hair and blue eyes and a beard. But they said, I mean, here's a simple guy. He's a carpenter, and uh, he's not wearing priestly robes, a crown. But that goes. I mean, that itself is a great teaching because you don't have to be uh, properly dressed. Like I told you, I mean, just to make a point, I don't have a camera. I don't have a big mic here in front of me. I don't have to do those things. I'm doing my best just to get this information out there for the viewers, but and without comparing myself to the Messiah, of course. But yeah, if you don't read those things, it's like I tell people, this is my view and what prophecy is all about. If you don't know what's coming, how can you prepare for what's coming? Okay. If you don't know what the mark of the beast is, and a lot of people already have it. As a matter of fact, I just read an article. I think Germany already passed the National Sunday Law. I think China is getting ready to, or has already done it. They know what the mark of the beast is. They're not saying it's a microchip or a tattoo or a barcode or an ATM card. They know it's the National Sunday Law. I should have marked that video. I think I have it in my save to watch later playlist. But yeah, people, those prophecies are there for our understanding, and like it says in Ecclesiastes, what once was will be again. I mean, for you all believers. Sorry, people. I had to. I ran out of space on my phone. I had the other videos and other short ones that I make on my phone, which is why actually I wanted this one to get reset. But anyways, yeah, I got more time now on my phone. So yeah, people, those prophecies are there for understanding, and if your churches are not putting them out there for you, you might need to go somewhere else. Like I said, do whatever you want, believe whatever you want to believe, but if you're not getting your answers in all the churches you might have already gone to, that might be telling you something. They're not going to tell you because the government doesn't want those churches putting those things out for you because it exposes who they are. You will know them by their fruits. Okay. So, anyways, I had about another 12 minutes left, and I will cover this section here and probably a little bit more. Okay, just to finish the hour. So, hopefully, by now, like I said, this book is very informative. I'm giving you the quotes from all these people, so it's something to consider. All these things, a lot of things obviously are not written in our Bibles, but it's like I stated to y'all before, it's written by inspiration of Yahweh, but it's written in a concept to where you can identify things. So we must not use our own understanding, our own opinions to try to figure these things out. It's not going to work. Okay. Some things, yeah, they're clearly written in there, about like do not murder, do not commit adultery, you know, don't think I have come to destroy the law and the prophets. A lot of those things are clear. But when it comes to prophecy, we have imagery, we have symbology, we have beasts, we have numbers, we have kings, we have nations, tongues, and languages, we have women. I mean, Isaiah said here a little and there a little, like I've been showing y'all, especially now in this coming out of these books. Okay, I've studied enough to where I can say yes, it's right, or like I said, been saying I'll have to look that one up because I haven't done much research, but I know where to look for it. Okay, a lot of it is hard to understand. Like even the what was it, Peter or Shaw said, a lot of things are hard to understand, but we mustn't let our where is it? We mustn't let our own philosophies try to figure these things out. Okay, is it in, I hate paraphrasing. Giving y'all the scriptures for it. It might have been Peter. I can't even remember. Okay, we mustn't let the majority, just because they say they're a prophet or not, we must not let that get the best of us. Okay, I'll read to you something here in the second letter of Peter, chapter 1, 20 and 21. It says, knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy did not come in former times by the will of man, but holy men of Yahweh spoke as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. It doesn't say women, it says men. But again, you have people like the Mormons saying, well, we don't have proof that that's the actual total inspired word. Okay, but this is all I got, and a lot of this stuff is, being proven. There's nothing being proven out of the Book of Mormon, only the fact that Joseph Smith was a false prophet. Okay, and if y'all think I'm being an ass, you can comment on my video and tell me I'm wrong, but I need you to prove to me and show me where he is in our Bibles, by name, by location, and I need to see scriptures as where the golden plates are mentioned, and all this stuff. Y'all need to. I'm gonna give you an idea of what these people. I've given y'all what they believe in, but it is no coincidence that the temple of the Church of Mormon or Latter-day Saints is in Utah. There's no coincidence why it's there. If you look up the origins of the Aztecs or the Mayans, they originated out of Utah. Okay, they eventually migrated down south to South America, wherever they're at now. But okay, people, a lot of those things are not coincidences. Look it up. So I tell you, people, do your own research. Okay, don't believe everything you see on my videos. You need to prove it for yourself. I'm telling you that right now. Okay, but I'm the last guy that's gonna sit in your church and say, "Oh wow," no, that ain't me. Okay, you must prove everything and search the scriptures to see if all these things are true or not true. Okay, here's the other one in the Second Peter, chapter 3, verse 16. As also in all his letters, speaking in them about these things, and which are some things hard to be understood, which those who are unlearned and unstable and unstudied and uneducated twist, as they also do the other scriptures, to their own destruction. You see, people? All right, let's see. So that earlier quote about the Catholic has some reason on his side when he calls for the temporal punishment of heretics, for he claims the true title of Christian for himself exclusively and professes to be taught by the never-failing presence of the Spirit of God. It is not more morally wrong to put a man to death for heresy than for murder. And in many cases, persecution for religious opinions is not only permissible but highly advisable and necessary. Ooh. In many cases, persecution for religious opinions is not only permissible, but highly advisable and necessary. That's crazy. Let me read that again. In many cases, persecution for religious opinions. Wow. So see, people, that's exactly what came to pass against the people of Yahweh. They thought they had opinions. But if you're a Catholic and you tell me that's my opinion, you must have hard evidence and proof to prove me wrong. I told y'all that from the very beginning of my videos. if I'm giving something out of the scriptures and you say I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Nobody has done it thus far. Probably because I had the comment section turned off, but I didn't know that. Okay. But like I tell y'all people, you believe whatever you want. Okay. But if you're a Catholic and you're hearing me talk about this stuff, listen, man, buddy, dude, or ma'am, consider what is being read in here. I'm giving y'all the history of your church. Okay, and these are coming from probably members, ex-members, bishops, ex-bishops, priests, ex-priests, so on. The research, all right here, the reach of your, in the palm of your hand. You ask if he, the Roman Catholic, were Lord. Okay, that quote earlier came from The Lawfulness of Persecution in the Rambler, June 4th, 1849, pages 119 and 126, Roman Catholic. You ask if he, the Roman Catholic, were Lord in the land and you were a minority, if not in numbers yet in power, what would he do to you? So because there's millions or billions of Christian believers, this is what I'm telling you here. What would you do to me if, let's say, I were, because I am part of a small group of true believers, what would you do to me? Oh, no, you're wrong, and that's an opinion, and because that's all they teach you in your church is opinions. That, we say, would entirely depend upon circumstances. If it would benefit the cause of Catholicism, he will tolerate you. If expedient, he would imprison you, banish you, fine you, possibly he might even hang you. I've said this before in the videos. You go over to Rome right now, to the Catholic Church, and say, hey dude, with the little hat in the back, why aren't you teaching the people the true names of our Father in Heaven, which is Yahweh and Yeshua? It might banish you. It might make you disappear. A big old mafia organization over there. They'll get rid of you quick. And your family and your friends, so nobody will ever know you ever existed. But be assured of one thing, he would never tolerate you for the sake of the glorious principles of civil and religious liberty. Catholicism is the most intolerant of creeds. It is intolerance itself, for it is truth itself. This is coming from Civil and Religious Liberty in the Rambler, September 8, 1851, pages 174 and 178. The Rambler was an English Roman Catholic journal published from 1848 to 1862. So, well, I mean, like I said, you're a Christian, you have Catholic beliefs. So you're going to not tolerate what the Catholic tells you. I'm not going to tolerate what either one of y'all says. Okay? And it's not that I'm right. It's just the fact that if you say, well, Sunday is the day of worship, that's not what the Bible says. Well, we're allowed to eat pork. The Bible doesn't say we're allowed to eat pork. It's prohibited. Who am I going to believe? You, your opinions, or my creator? Y'all know the answer to that one. The Bible predicted that Rome would try to change the law of Yahweh, that says God here, and in its place substitute laws of its own making. Well, in essence, that's what they did. They changed laws. They thought to change laws, and they made their own. And that is in the Prophecies of Daniel 7:25. Okay. Seals and marks have been used for thousands of years to mark and separate people, and God predicts in the book of Revelation that in a time just ahead of massive marking and sealing of men's minds will be done. Okay, and I've talked to y'all about the baptism, how it works as a seal, but the proper baptism seals us that we belong to Yahweh. Okay, I'm gonna be bringing out more of this stuff as hopefully you guys will catch on. Like I said, if you're Catholic, pay attention, man or ma'am. Pay attention to the history of your church. We're persecuting the people of Yahweh, the true believers. That's why y'all go to Sunday. That's why you're allowed to eat all kinds of meats. The catfish, pork, and all kinds of shellfish. It's caca, mierda, poop. That's what you're eating. Because those are bottom feeders, and that's exactly what they eat. They take it in them to filter the water, so all that poop from other fish is at the bottom. That's where the catfish is at. So it's a fact, people. Our Father did not change any laws. He set them out for our benefit, for our healthy benefit. so that we may be clean inside, because we hear all these people say, well, this is the temple of God and I have to be careful what I put in it. Really? Well, why are you eating pork? Why are you eating catfish? Why are you eating shellfish? Common sense, people. But I was talking to my girl earlier. Common sense is not common in the world today. Just because you have or you had straight A's in school and you have top degrees and certifications does not make you a bright person. Obviously. Okay. I was a C and D student, and I can only thank my Father in heaven for showing me these things. But it's a choice at the same time. It's not forced upon us, like Catholic Church forces their edicts or their whatever the rules on people. It doesn't. No, it's a choice. Excuse me. I chose to do this. I chose to follow this, and I'm gonna keep doing my best to keep going at it. But like I told y'all, I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna sugarcoat stuff for you. Okay. These are scriptural facts I've been bringing out to you, and these are historical facts. And some of y'all might still be saying, "Wow, who wrote those books?" Hey, if Malachi Martin came to my house and told me these things, I'm gonna be like, "All right, bro. All right, sir. Thank you for the information. I'm gonna consider it." If Thomas Chiniki, he actually was another ex-bishop of the Catholic Church. He went to Abraham Lincoln to help him in his case. That's why they killed Lincoln. The Jesuits, the Catholics killed Abraham Lincoln. It's a fact. And they blame somebody else for it. Do your own research, people. It's out there. Okay? If he came to my house, Thomas Chiniki, I'm going to say, all right, sir, thank you for the information. I'm going to consider it. The Jesuits, the Catholics killed Abraham Lincoln, but they blame somebody else. If you look closely at the video of the JFK shooting, the driver also participated in shooting or blowing Kennedy's brains out. Look at it very carefully, people. That's why Jackie was scared crapless to jump out of the back of the car. People, stop believing in the school systems. These are the schools of tyranny, the schools of higher learning. They're not teaching you nothing. Nothing. I don't use, trigonometry or calculus. I don't use that stuff today. I'm only grateful I know how to add, subtract, and multiply. Okay. Like I said, I was a C and D student, but I have some common sense to learn how to do things on my own, and they work. Okay. The schools only teach you the white man's knowledge, the knowledge that they want you to have in your head. But you're never told to do your own research. Like I told y'all in some of my earlier videos, a lot of the history in our history books is all wrong. It's all ass backwards. Obviously, they changed the name of our Father to God and to Jesus Christ, beginning with the Bible. Okay, I will get you more on this, people. I mean, like I said, feel free to comment, ask questions. There's nothing we can't find nowadays in this little handheld computer. Okay, I hope this helps. Yahweh's great name. I pray that He open up y'all's minds to His understanding. Consider the stuff that we're bringing out to y'all, people, because House of Yahweh is the only one exposing the errors and the wrongful doings of the Catholic Church. And the teachings have been brought down to the daughters. That's a fact. If you're Christian, you still have Catholic symbols in your belief, crosses, images, all that kind of stuff. Okay? This is what we're told by Yahweh Himself and Yeshua in the book of Revelation 18:4. Come out of her, my people. Okay? We still have time, people, to jump out of this God-fearing system. Okay? Like I said, the comment section is open. Comments, questions, keep them clean. And anything you need me to help you find, ask me, and I will do my best to help you find those answers, okay? The next video, y'all have a great day.